What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut, and today we are going to look at the Robert Griffin III trade, which occurred back on March 12th, 2012. Now, a while ago, last summer, I did upload a trade breakdown that discussed the Robert Griffin III trade. However, it was messy. I don't like how it looks, so I decided that starting now, we're going to re-upload like 5 or 6 different videos from that time frame. 3 of them are going to be re-uploaded, and then 4 of them I think are going to be branched off, so stay tuned for that. This one, Robert Griffin III, is going to be the first one that we're going to do. So in case you are a keen viewer, we did already discuss this, but this time it's going to be a cleaner discussion. So this trade was between the Washington football team and the St. Louis Rams, and it saw Washington essentially trade a king's ransom, 4 draft picks, 3 first-round picks, and a second-rounder to St. Louis to acquire the number 2 overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft. So how did that work out? We will start by discussing what the Washington football team got. So with the 2nd overall pick, they would select Baylor quarterback Robert Griffin III. Now, he would win the starting job as a rookie, and he had a very strong debut game against New Orleans, and due to this, he was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Now, his rookie year, he just continued to play well. And he did leave a game early due to concussion, but he didn't miss any starts or anything like that. So, yeah. Now, he would become an offensive co-captain in November of his rookie year. So that right there speaks volume for how much his teammates loved him. Now, he would end up trouncing the Eagles in a game, and he was named the NFC Offensive Player of the Week for a second time as a rookie. Very impressive. Now, in a Week 14 game, RGIII would sprain his right LCL, which is in the knee. And he would end up missing a game due to this. So he did miss a game, just not because of concussion. So as a result, he had to wear a knee brace on his right knee. And in a playoff game against the Seahawks, he would tear that same LCL as well as the ACL in his right knee. So it wasn't good. Now, this whole situation was very controversial as the team's coach, Mike Shanahan, said that RG3 was cleared to play, but the team doctor, James Andrews, did not medically clear him. So this already was concerning, and it would have an impact on the rest of his career. So despite this controversy, though, RG3 had a strong rookie year. He threw for 3,200 yards on the nose with 20 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So clearly he was good. Now he added 815 yards on 120 carries while also scoring 8 touchdowns with his feet. Now his second year was not as successful as the first. He did pass for 3 more yards, you heard me right, 3 more yards, but his touchdown total dropped to 16 and his interceptions spiked up to 12. He lacked the mobility that he had had before, and part of this was due to a lack of a preseason for him because he was still rehabbing. Part of it was he didn't want to re-tear his ACL. Part of it was, you're never 100% recovered from a torn ACL. So, yeah. Now, he ended up getting benched for the last 3 games of that year. But he ends up re-winning the starting job in 2014. Now, in the second week, he would dislocate his ankle. He did return, but he ended up getting benched. Now, he would recapture the starting job, and he ended the year starting 7 games. He threw for 1,694 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. And part of it was skewed because one game he did go off. He actually had 2 touchdowns. I believe it was against the Cowboys. So, now, in 2015, he fell to be the 3rd string quarterback on the team. And after the 2015 season was over, he was cut. Now, his time in Washington is definitely forgettable because he didn't do all that much, but his 2012 season was spectacular. He was a 1-time Pro Bowler, a 1-time NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, this is definitely just a sad story of mismanagement. This is all on Washington. They just completely messed up this man's career. And he's still hanging around. He's not on a team right now, but he's still hanging around. So I hope he gets another chance. I'd love to see him actually have a chance to carry a team. He was a very good player. He always torched my Eagles, but he was still fun to watch. So next we have the St. Louis Rams. And after this original first trade here, I do list them as Los Angeles just because, they did move to LA in 2015, but I just didn't want to write Los Angeles from the beginning because they were originally St. Louis. Anyway, St. Louis, Los Angeles, I'm just going to call them Los Angeles. They got 4 draft picks. Now, they got 2 picks in the 2012 draft, and the first one we'll look at is the 6th overall pick, and they would trade this pick to Dallas. Now, they would trade it for 2 picks. The first one we'll look at is the 14th overall pick. With the 14th pick, they would select defensive tackle Michael Brockers. And Brockers, he spent 9 years as a starter on the team. He missed only 6 games over that time span, starting 136 of 138 games he played in. He recorded 28 sacks, 395 tackles, 9 passes defended, a pair of forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery, as well as 62 quarterback hits. Now, he was a solid player, but he did end up getting traded this recent offseason to the Detroit Lions in exchange for a 2023 7th-round pick. Of course, we have no idea what that pick will become. So, Brockers was a decent player. Los Angeles also got the 45th pick in exchange for the 6th from Dallas, and they would trade the 45th pick to Chicago for a pair of picks, the first of which was the 50th overall pick. With that pick, they would go running back Isaiah Pead, and Pead did not do much for the team over 3 years. He recorded 19 carries for 78 yards, as well as 15 catches for 94 yards. He did not score a touchdown for the team. Now, he did tear his ACL in the preseason of 2014, so he did miss the 2014 season. He got cut midway through 2015, so it is what it is. Now, they also got the 150th pick from Chicago. That pick would be used to select offensive guard Rokavius Watkins, and right off the bat, he was a bit of a problem. He appeared to training camp overweight, and they had to, convince him to lose weight. They had to get him to lose weight in order to play, and he would appear in a single game before getting hurt and going on the IR. Now, he would show up to camp in 2013 overweight, and the Rams just said, you know what, we're done, and they got rid of him. So, a 5th-round pick, worth a shot, didn't work out. It is what it is. So now we go back to the original trade with Washington. St. Louis, LA also got the 39th pick in the 2012 draft. They would use this pick to select cornerback Janoris Jenkins, and Jenkins would win the starting job as a rookie, and he would actually record an interception in his first career game. Now, in week 12 of his rookie year, he recorded a pair of pick sixes in a win over Arizona. They actually would win that game by 14 points, so you could say he basically gave them that win. So, yeah. Now, he ended his rookie year with 4 interceptions, 3 of which were returned for touchdowns. He also had 14 passes defended and 73 tackles. Now, he was tested a bit less in his second year, as he recorded 60 tackles, 1 interception, his first career sack, and once more 14 passes defended. He had a strong third year, recording 59 tackles and a pair of picks, both of which were returned for touchdowns. So clearly, he's good at, taking the ball to the house after getting a pick. And then he had 64 tackles with 3 interceptions in the 2015 season before he essentially priced himself out of Los Angeles. Still, 4 solid years of a solid starter. Rams probably weren't complaining about that. Now, they also got a pair of first-round picks in the 2013-14 drafts. So the 2013 first-round pick would become the 22nd pick. This would be traded away, and this will get its own video. It's going to be the Desmond Trufant video. It will be linked in the description below once it's released. Now, lastly, they got a 2014 first-round pick, and this would become the 2nd overall pick. With that, they would select offensive tackle Greg Robinson. And Robinson was viewed as a bit of a can't-miss prospect. However, it didn't work out that way. He had a quiet first 2 years, as he did appear in all 32 possible games, starting 28 of them, at left tackle, but he didn't play that well. However, he wasn't a liability. He just wasn't great. He wasn't worthy of that 2nd overall pick. His third year, though, saw him struggle mightily. And he actually ended up going from the starter to being a healthy scratch in his third year. Now, he would convert to guard and then would be moved to right tackle prior to the 2017 season, but before taking a snap at either position, he would be traded to the Detroit Lions in exchange for a 2018 6th-round pick. Now, this pick would become the 194th pick, and it would be shipped to Atlanta for a pair of picks in 2018. And the first one was the 244th pick. With that, they would select defensive end Justin Lawler, and Lawler was a special teamer in 2018, and then he did miss both 2019 and 2020 due to separate injuries, and he is currently on the practice squad for the Rams in the 2021 season. Now, they also got the 256th Mr. Irrelevant pick, and they would trade this to Washington for a pair of picks. So they got the 205th and 231st pick. So the 205th pick was used to select defensive end Trevin Young, and Young would appear in a pair of games, registering 12 snaps. He didn't record any stats other than a recovered fumble, which is always nice, and he got waived after a single year. They also got the 231st pick, and with that, they would select linebacker Trayvon Howard, and Howard spent most of his rookie year on the practice squad. He became a special teamer in 2019, but he ended up missing all of 2020 with a torn meniscus, and then he was a special teamer up to this point through the 2021 season. So that's what the Rams in Washington, at least originally Washington, got. So how did the other teams do? And we will, first things first, let's get Washington's second trade out of the way. So Washington's second trade saw them get a pair of picks in 2018, the first of which was the 197th. With that, they would select linebacker Sean Dion Hamilton, and Hamilton would start 7 games over 3 years, but he mostly served as a special team player. He recorded 1 interception and 2.5 sacks in his time in Washington before he was waived. And then with the 256th Mr. Irrelevant pick, they would select wide receiver Trey Quinn. Now, Quinn dealt with an ankle injury as a rookie that limited him to only 3 games. And then he would suffer a concussion in 2019 that ended his rookie season, or his second season, 4 games early. And with the injuries, Washington decided he wasn't worth keeping around for a third year. So, not the best, but not the worst. So now we have the other teams to look at. So we'll start with the Dallas Cowboys, who got the 6th pick in the 2012 draft. With that, they would select cornerback Morris Claiborne, and Claiborne would win the starting role as a rookie, and he started 15 games, recording 1 interception and a pair of fumble recoveries, one of which he returned for a touchdown. Now, injuries would hamper his 2013 season, as he started 7 of 10 games that he could play in. He eventually lost his starting job, and he would only appear in 4 games, starting 3 of them in 2014 due to a knee injury. He would recapture his starting job in 2015, and he played decently. He recorded 37 tackles and 7 passes defended over 11 games, all of which were starts. He looked very good to start the 2016 season, but he ended up dealing with a pair of injuries that limited him to only 7 games. Dallas decided that he wasn't worth the headache of all the injuries, so they allowed him to walk after 5 years. So next we have the Detroit Lions, and they had a pair of different trades here. The first one we'll look at is very recent, where they got defensive tackle Michael Brockers. And Brockers, through 3 games up to this point, he has 10 tackles and a sack. He did sign a 3-year deal with the team, so he does figure to be a part of the team's long-term future. They also got offensive tackle Greg Robinson, and Robinson started 6 games before he hurt his ankle, and then he was placed on the IR, and he wasn't that good, but he wasn't horrible. He did walk as a free agent. Next, we have the Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears got the 45th pick in the 2012 draft. They would use that to select wide receiver Alshon Jeffrey. Now, despite missing some time with a broken hand, Alshon had a solid rookie year, recording 24 catches for 367 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, he would break out in 2013. In Week 5 of that year, he broke the Bears' single-season receiving yard record with 218 yards. In Week 13 of the same year, he broke his own record by recording 249 yards in that game. His second year was a vast improvement, as he recorded career highs in targets, catches with 89, and yards with 1,421, while also adding 7 touchdowns. He was named the NFL's most improved player. Now, he had another star season in 2014, as he recorded 1,133 yards on 65 catches for a career-high 10 touchdowns. Now, he dealt with various injuries in 2015, but he still led the team in receptions with 54, while adding 807 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ends up getting franchise tagged, and he had a solid season on the tag, but he did end up missing 4 games after testing positive for PEDs. He ended that year with 821 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, he would walk after that 5th year, and obviously he went to the Eagles, but he actually has the 3rd most receiving yards in Chicago franchise history, despite only playing 5 years for the team. He was a 1-time Pro Bowler and a 1-time Most Improved Player. So lastly, we have the Atlanta Falcons, and they got the 194th pick in the 2018 draft. They would use that to select wide receiver Russell Gage, and he was mostly a special teamer as a rookie, but he did end up earning a larger role in his second year, catching 49 passes for 446 yards and a touchdown. Now, Julio Jones had an injury-plagued 2020 season, and Gage stepped up. He had 72 catches for 786 yards and 4 touchdowns. Now, up to this point in 2021, he has disappointed slightly, but he did miss the last week, Week 3, with an injury that he picked up in Week 2, so maybe he can rebound. Hopefully he does. Anyway, that was the Robert Griffin III trade. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is one of those trades where, I remember when it happened, it was a big trade. There was a huge debate between Luck and RG3 who's going to be the better quarterback. I was on Luck's side. I said he's a great player. You want a pocket passer. Unfortunately, Washington just really messed it up. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a good rest of your day.